Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're essentially putting you in the shoes of an all-seeing creator who is trying to manage this high-stakes, highly volatile reality show.
Oh, highly volatile is definitely the right word for it.
Right, because you've got, a classic love triangle, a single piece of prime real estate, and a cast of characters who just completely refuse to compromise.
They absolutely will not budge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the catch. Your contestants aren't aspiring influencers trapped in some television villa. They're fish.
This is tiny fish.
Yeah, and your studio is a small glass box sitting in a living room. We are looking at a really fascinating snapshot from a dedicated blog called Notes-on-Fishkeeping.
Which is such a great read, by the way.
It really is. Specifically, we're looking at an entry titled Part 314, which was published by the author, Ang, on August 11th, 2026.
And that Part 314 detail is actually crucial context for you as a listener.
Oh, for sure.
Because we are not dealing with a casual hobbyist here. Ang is someone who is meticulously documenting these micro-ecosystems across several different tanks.
Like, seriously deep into the weeds on this.
Right. By the time you reach Part 314 of any observational journal, you have moved way past basic care. You're into the realm of behavioral ecology. Ang is studying how physical constraints dictate biological imperatives.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the stars of our particular drama today are a specific population of Kribensis Cichlids.
Scientifically known as pelvicachromis-pulcher.
Yes, thank you, pelvicachromis-pulcher. So Ang has been, moving these fly around, observing different groupings and stuff.
Testing the waters, literally.
Literally.
Got it.
But zooming in on one very specific tank gives us this incredible, almost Shakespearean conflict. We have a demographic breakdown here of exactly 2 male fish and 1 female fish.
It is the classic 2-to-1 ratio, which, immediately forces a state of resource partitioning.
Because someone is going to be left out.
Exactly. In any closed system, whether it's, say, a corporate market with limited capital or a biological environment with limited mates asymmetry, just breeds competition.
Right. The math just doesn't work out for everyone to be happy.
No, it doesn't. But what elevates Ang's observation here is how that biological competition intersects with the physical geography of the tank itself.
Okay, so picture yourself looking at this tank right now. It is not just, a blank, watery void.
No, not at all.
Ang has essentially built a stage with 2 distinct zones. Over on your left, you have this artificial cave made out of a terracotta pot.
Like a standard garden pot.
Yeah, exactly. And then on your right, you have an area covered in a coral substrate. And that is it. That's the entire world.
2 males, 1 female, 1 clay pot, 1 patch of coral.
It's like the ultimate minimalist stage play.
It really is. And this raises an important question about how we as humans perceive artificial environments versus how the inhabitants perceive them.
That's a good point.
Right, because to a human, a terracotta pot is just, a $2 piece of gardening equipment that you place in a tank for aesthetic variety.
Just to make it look nice.
Yeah. But to a Kribensis cichlid, it is a fortress. It is the absolute ultimate defensible perimeter.
But hold on. It is just a clay pot. In the wild, these fish have entire riverbeds. They have rocks, sunken logs, endless vegetation.
Miles of it, yeah.
So why are they treating this cheap piece of baked clay like it's a priceless artifact?
Because you really have to look at the evolutionary hardwiring of pelvicachromis-pulcher. They originate from the slow-moving, heavily vegetated waters of West Africa,
right.
And they are inherently cave spawners. Their entire reproductive strategy relies on finding a secure, enclosed space.
Oh, so they need a roof.
Exactly. They need a space with a single entry point that can be easily guarded against predators. The terracotta pot perfectly mimics the hydrodynamic and structural benefits of a hollowed-out river log.
Wow, so to them, it's identical to the best real estate in the river.
It is. It provides a roof which protects their eggs from top-down predators, and it breaks the line of sight from other aggressive fish in the tank.
So it's not just a cute preference.
No, not at all. Their biology demands that structure to feel secure enough to breed.
So we have the perfect piece of real estate for raising a family. But the way these 3 fish divide up the territory defies all common sense.
It's completely chaotic.
It is, because one single bachelor fish, the one Ang identifies as the alpha male, has claimed the terracotta pot.
Just for himself.
Just for himself.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the actual couple, the bonded pair, consisting of the other male and the single female, are relegated to the sidelines. They're just hovering over the exposed coral substrate.
What's fascinating here is the complete disconnect between the instinct to claim a territory and the biological utility of that territory.
Yes, you would think the couple gets the house.
You would think so, logically.
I mean, it is like a grumpy billionaire hoarding a 20-bedroom mansion he has absolutely no use for, while the young newlyweds are forced to camp out in the exposed backyard on a pile of sharp coral.
That is a very accurate, if slightly tragic way to put it.
But why doesn't the alpha just surrender the pot? I mean, he has no mate.
Because the behavioral mechanics of cichlid aggression are completely decoupled from their immediate reproductive status.
Wait, what does that mean?
It means the alpha male's biological imperative is to secure the highest value resource in the environment, full stop.
Regardless of whether he can use it right now.
Exactly. Securing the cave is a multiplier for his future reproductive fitness. His instincts don't factor in that there is only one female in this closed system, and, well, she's already bonded with his rival.
He doesn't know the math of the tank.
Right. His hardwiring simply tells him, guard the premium spawning site, and a mate will eventually arrive.
And he is just sitting there,
Oh.
fiercely guarding an empty house.
Guarding it with incredible energy expenditure, too. It's exhausting.
I bet.
And on the flip side, you have the bonded pair. They have successfully executed the other half of the biological equation. They've formed a reproductive partnership.
But they are completely blocked from the ideal breeding ground.
Yep. The guy with the house has no partner, and the couple with the partnership has no house.
And because of the glass walls, nobody can just...
Swim away.
Right, they can't just swim a mile downstream to find a new log.
Precisely. The spatial boundaries are absolute. In a natural river system, the subordinate male and his female would simply leave the alpha's territory and map out a new zone.
Just find another hollowed-out log somewhere else.
Exactly. But here, they are trapped on the coral substrate. And the coral offers no overhead cover, no defensible bottleneck.
So they're just sitting ducks out there.
If they were to lay eggs there, they would be hyperexposed. So they don't breed. The entire microecosystem is in a state of biological paralysis.
So what does this all mean for the creator of this world? We have Aang looking at this tank, taking photos of this ridiculous stalemate, and realizing that the environment they meticulously designed is actively preventing the fish from thriving.
It's a tough spot to be in as an observer.
It really forces a massive philosophical shift, going from just being a passive observer to having to actively play God.
It is the ultimate fish keeper's dilemma. Do you prioritize the natural behavioral expression of the fish, even if that expression results in a permanent stalemate? Or do you intervene to optimize their biological potential?
Well, Aang decides to intervene.
Naturally.
The blog post outlines a very deliberate structural change. The plan is to simply remove the alpha male from the tank entirely. Evict the billionaire from the mansion, basically.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of captive animal management, Aang's proposed solution has this profound, almost mathematical elegance to it.
It really does seem like a win-win.
It is. It's a dual-purpose intervention that solves two biological dead ends simultaneously.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because Aang isn't just flushing this alpha male down the toilet, obviously.
Oh, no, of course not.
The plan is to relocate him to a completely different tank and pair him with a group of available females. It is literally an underwater matchmaking scheme.
It is a totally calculated manipulation of variables. By extracting the alpha, you are instantly maximizing his reproductive potential.
By giving him actual options.
Right, placing him in an environment where his territorial instincts can finally be paired with available mates.
And back in the original tank, you trigger a massive power vacuum.
Exactly. With the apex competitor removed, the territorial map of the tank is instantly rewritten.
The housing market opens up.
The terracotta pot goes from being a hostile, guarded zone to available real estate. The bonded pair, who have been waiting in the wings on the coral substrate, can finally cross that invisible boundary, occupy the cave, and execute their own reproductive strategy.
It's a perfect plan. By understanding the mechanics of territorial mapping, the human manager can theoretically optimize the entire system.
Theoretically, yes.
See, if I'm Aang, I'm not waiting around to write a blog post about this. I'm grabbing a net, I'm reaching into the water, and I am scooping that alpha male out today. It solves the housing crisis instantly.
You would think so, but you are falling into the classic trap of the omnipotent creator.
What trap?
You are severely underestimating the physical reality of the world you built.
Wait, If the plan's so perfect, and Aang is the one who wrote it, why do I get the sense from this post that the alpha male is still sitting inside that terracotta pot?
Because he probably is.
What is actually stopping Aang from just reaching in with a net? I mean, it is a glass box.
Because of the extraction paradox.
Extraction paradox. Okay, what is that?
The tactical obstacle that Aang explicitly points out in Part 314 is that the physical act of catching this specific fish has proven incredibly difficult.
Really?
Yes. And the reason it is difficult is directly tied to the very architecture we have been analyzing. The fish utilize the artificial cave and the coral substrate to hide.
Okay, let me push back on this for a second. We are talking about a human being with stereoscopic vision and a net going up against a fish that is, what, maybe 3 inches long?
Around there, yeah.
How hard can it mechanically be to just corner it?
Extremely hard. Because trying to net a fast-moving cichlid in a heavily structured environment isn't just a game of aquatic tag.
It's not.
No, it's like trying to navigate a drone through a dense forest canopy. The architecture of the tank, the curvature of the pot, the jagged edges of the coral, the way water displacement pushes against the glass, it all creates physical barriers.
Oh, I hadn't thought about the water displacement.
Right, it creates blind spots and turbulence that heavily favor the prey, not the predator.
It's like building a fortress to keep them safe, but locking yourself out in the process.
It is a brilliant irony. The fish keeper meticulously placed that terracotta cave in the tank to reduce stress and encourage natural behavior.
To make them feel at home.
Exactly. But by designing a highly effective, naturalistic hiding spot, the creator essentially locked themselves out of their own system. The alpha male is utilizing the architecture exactly as intended.
He's just too good at using his house.
Way too good. It makes him virtually impossible to extract without destroying the architecture itself.
Which brings us to the most drastic, mind-blowing part of Aang's entire post. To actually execute this perfect matchmaking plan to catch this one single bachelor fish, Aang admits it would require doing a massive 90% water change.
And that is not a casual undertaking.
See, I have to admit, as someone who doesn't keep fish, when I read water change, I just picture draining a bathtub and filling it back up with the hose.
Yeah, that's how most people think of it.
Why is a 90% drain such a catastrophic event?
Because water in an aquarium is not just empty space that the fish happen to float in.
Right.
It is a carefully balanced chemical atmosphere. A mature aquarium operates on a delicate biological engine called the nitrogen cycle.
Okay, the nitrogen cycle.
Right, so fish produce waste, which creates highly toxic ammonia. But over time, the tank develops colonies of beneficial nitrifying bacteria that live inside the porous surfaces of the tank.
Oh, so they don't live in the water itself.
Mostly no. They live specifically within the coral substrate and on the surface of that terracotta pot. These bacteria act as a biological filter, converting the lethal ammonia into relatively harmless nitrates.
So the substrate isn't just the floor. It is literally the life support system.
Precisely. And those bacterial colonies require a stable environment. When you drain 90% of the water, you are severely disrupting that stability.
That sounds dangerous.
It is. Furthermore, to catch the fish in that remaining 10% of water, Aang would have to rip up the terracotta pot and disturb the coral substrate.
Literally ripping up the fortress.
Yes, and when you disturb an established substrate, you release pockets of trapped organic detritus directly into the minimal water that is left.
Oh, man.
You are essentially detonating a biological bomb. Without the buffering capacity of the full water volume, that stirred up waste causes an immediate ammonia spike.
So wait, in the attempt to catch the alpha male to help the bonded pair, Aang would literally be poisoning the very newlyweds they're trying to assist.
You are poisoning them, you are subjecting them to extreme osmotic shock because the new water will have totally different parameters, and you are stripping away their chemical atmosphere.
That's terrifying.
You have to bring the entire ecosystem to the absolute brink of collapse just to execute a single management decision.
It fundamentally changes how you view this whole scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are a property manager trying to evict one unruly tenant, and the only physical way to get them out of the building is to drain 90% of the oxygen out of the entire complex.
You hesitate.
You definitely hesitate.
Which is exactly what Aang is doing. The post ends without a resolution.
Just a cliffhanger.
Just a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
The standoff continues. The fish are trapped by the rigid dictates of their evolutionary instincts, and the creator is trapped by the physical and chemical reality of the environment they themselves designed.
It is such an incredible meditation on the illusion of control.
It really is.
You put glass walls around something, you drop in a clay pot, you control the food and the light, and you think you have mastered the system.
You think you're in charge.
Right.
Mm.
But Notes on Fishkeeping Part 314 proves that the smaller and more constrained the space, the more explosive and fragile the dynamics become.
Knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied across disciplines. What Ang has documented here is a tiny, highly specific reality, but the mechanisms at play, resource hoarding, spatial constraints, the cascading costs of systemic intervention, those are universal principles of management.
Whether you are trying to manage a team of people at a corporation or, balance the dynamics of a bustling household or referee 3 Kribensis Cichlids in a glass tank.
The rules still apply.
They do. You cannot just force a structural solution without understanding the biological and architectural forces pushing back against you.
You always have to weigh the heavy cost of the 90% water change. You have to respect that every element, from the clay pot to the invisible bacteria in the coral, is load-bearing.
And that brings us to a final thought we want to leave you with today. We have spent this entire deep dive analyzing how a $2 artificial terracotta pot can completely dictate the social hierarchy, the breeding potential, and the daily energy expenditure of these complex living creatures.
The fish are entirely helplessly bound by the architecture they were given.
An architecture they did not choose, but which shapes their entire reality.
Exactly.
So as you go about your day, think about this. If a simple clay pot can so completely control the destiny and the conflicts of a micro-ecosystem, how much of our own human behavior is unconsciously dictated by the artificial structures we are placed into?
That's a big question.
When you find yourself in a workplace standoff, a societal love triangle, or a fierce competition for resources, are you really making your own independent choices? Or are you just reacting to the shape of your own glass box, fighting over a terracotta pot you don't even need?
Something to ponder.
Think about the invisible architecture shaping your behavior the next time you feel the instinct to guard your territory. We will see you on the next Deep Dive.